Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Inside the Distance podcast. I am your host, as always, GK The Fight Analyst. Unfortunately, our man, Aaron the Dog, cannot make it with us this week's episode, but we do have a special guest coming on very, very shortly. But before we get there, let me take a moment to shout out our sponsors. Guys, head over to manscaped.com. Get the best male grooming products to keep that junk feeling and smelling great. Use promo code TFTA20 for 20% off your order. And guys, our newest sponsor for the podcast, Just Blaze Clothing. They got some of the dopest gear out there. Head over to their website and use promo code TFA10 for 10% off your order. And guys, we were talking about this earlier. We are giving away some dope gear from Just Blaze Clothing. All you got to do is head over to Just Blaze on Facebook, on Instagram as well, and just giving them a follow and then post in here, click and just write, I'm in, I followed, and do all that so you get your entry in and get some dope gear. But yeah, I'm going to recap last weekend's amazing weekend that we had. If you guys went and bought my packages, we went undefeated 7-0. We didn't lose a single bet the entire night. We cashed in like crazy. Casey Kenny was our max bet, came in with flying colors. He looked phenomenal. Obviously, the best performance of his career that we've seen in the UFC to date. He's looking fresh. He's coming in. He's fighting Nathaniel Wood coming up soon, I think, in UFC 254. I can't fucking wait, for that fight. But, yeah, man. But let's bring on our special guest on tonight's podcast, Christian, the Kraken, Ynastrilla. What's up, man?
Hey,
how's it going?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Anytime.
So before we get into breaking down this card, because that's what you're here for, to help everybody make some money, let's talk about you. What's going on? What's new? How's it going? Anything on the horizon? What's going on?
Just pretty much focusing on, a lot of different things in training, just trying to evolve my game a lot more, and probably looking now to finish up the year again with Titan on December 18 on UFC Fight Pass. That's definitely I'm definitely finishing the year with one more fight. That's for sure. So
I love it, man. I love it. Got to get back in there, get back into the swing of things. But what have you taken from your last fight? What have you taken from that fight with your last opponent?
Yeah, I think the main thing I took in that fight, I definitely had a single-minded approach, and I definitely knew going into that fight I was the more well-rounded guy between me and him. And I think in that fight I kind of stayed too much doing one thing, and that's not how I fight. And then just another big thing was I was trying to really stay calm in the moment, of fighting, being a co-main event on UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that. And I think I was a little too calm for that fight, and I wasn't thinking how I should have been thinking, or using the fight IQ that I know that I have. So I think just the main thing in training has been using all my weapons and mixing up, being able to use my wrestling, being able to use my kicks, not just trying to box. And I have all the tools. It's just reinforcing and having more coaching and making sure that I'm getting the reps in training to make sure that I could make things come out in the fights.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, from what I've seen, your grappling, I think, is your forte. And from what I've seen watching you over the years, I think that's your bread and butter. And once you get it down there, it's almost you're that close to just getting the finish every single time. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's good. But I can't wait to see you back in there very, very soon. But we have a massive 13 fight card coming up tomorrow night.
Yeah, I can't wait.
A lot of money to be made, man. A lot of money to be made. Last weekend, I was trying to tell everybody, but absolutely smashed it, bro. Undefeated, didn't lose a single bet the entire night. It was just a thing of beauty, and we're just looking to keep that momentum going. That's why you're here, because you're going to help us break down this fight card. All right, so let's just get right down to business.
Yeah,
all right, so the first fight up on the preliminary card is a fight at 125 pounds between Tagir Bakov. Yulin Bakov, I think. That's hard. And Bruno Silva. Right now, Tagir is on minus 440 favorites. Jesus. And the comeback on Bruno Silva is a plus 390 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
I was kind of taking a look at both guys, and I'm really impressed with Tager. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I think so.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with this kid. He's like really well-rounded. He can strike really well. He can grapple really well. He has a good resume. He's fought some tough dudes over in Russia. He's ranked number 1 in Russia. And I was looking at Bruno Silva. He's a pretty aggressive striker with some good grappling in his own right. But I think Tager is going to be a little too much to him, bro. I think that kid's the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think Bruno Silva really stands a chance. Tagir is like twice his size too, from what I've seen.
Yeah, has a huge reach advantage. Yeah,
bro, he's massively taller. He trains with Habib. I don't know if they're cousins or something, but like they've been training since they were kids. So you already know what you're getting from him. Immense grappling, and he's got 7 of his 12 wins by submission. Unfortunately, the line is too juiced to really lay it straight. I kind of do like Tagir to win via submission, which is I think plus 210 if I'm not mistaken. Let me look. Plus 210 for him to win by submission. 7 of his 12 wins are by submission. Bruno Silva has been submitted before. He's been submitted the way Tagir loves to get submissions is by a guillotine choke or just taking the neck. So I really do have a feeling he's going to get a finish here. I think he's going to come in there and absolutely dominate and show why he is as good as, being the number 1 prospect in Russia and then fighting out of Dagestan. You're something special.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see his wrestling and see everything.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to impress, but unfortunately, big favorite, but he's definitely not going to lose. All right. Next up in the women's bantamweight division, we have a fight between Tracy Cortez and Stephanie Edgar. Right now, Cortez is a minus 175 favorite, and the comeback on Edgar is a plus 165 underdog. What do you got?
I was definitely looking at this fight, and I think this is some good underdog money for if you want to make some underdog money with Edgar.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw she's competed in ADCC, and I think she, at least from what I've seen, she's a very high level grappler. And Tracy Cortez, I would say her striking's not too sharp yet. I think she's still young in this sport. She's going to develop more. But at least from what I've seen right now, her striking's not too sharp. And I think going to the ground with Edgar wouldn't be, I think, a safe bet for her. And I think Edgar actually has a more polished striking game than Cortez. So I would definitely lean towards Edgar. I think she's the more well-rounded fighter in this fight.
I 110% agree with you. She's one of my dogs on the card.
Yeah.
I was telling people to bet her when she was like around like a plus 170. I was a little late on the train. I wanted to bet her at plus 210, but I needed to see the tape. And why I saw the tape, that's when it started coming down. But yeah, I mean, she has a massive size advantage. She's 5'8". Cortez is 5'5". She's got a 3-inch height and reach advantage. She normally fights at 135, 145. She actually faced Ronda Rousey in a judo match, and she went 1-1 against Ronda Rousey in judo. So that's how high level of a judo fighter she really is.
Yeah.
I think she was an ADCC Euro World Champion at one point.
Yeah, I was watching the video of her training for it. Super high level.
Dude, and I think Cortez is one of the smallest fighters that Edgar has fought in her short MMA career as well. The other one was King Reina, which was 5'3". But I think the way that Edgar is able to take her opponent to pick them up from a body lock and just slam them down, I think she has absolutely no problems doing the same thing here. And I don't think Cortez's striking is overly that impressive.
No, yeah.
Her forte is her wrestling, and she's definitely not going to want to wrestle in this fight. She was getting ready to fight a Swedish kickboxing champion, Bay Malecki, and she was game planning going in to wrestle. And now she's like, I'm worried because now I have the game plan to kickbox for 15 minutes instead of game planning to wrestle for 15 minutes. So I think it's going to be a tall task. She's normally 125er, 7 of her 8 fights at 125. This is at 135. The size is going to be a massive disadvantage here. And I think I took Edgar by submission at plus 950 early in the week.
Yeah, I definitely got
plus
her.
950. Bro, that's insane. I don't know. I think it should be a lot closer. I see people thinking Tracy Cortez It's going to be a walk in the park. But this is a trap line. The bookmakers want you to bet on Cortez. Don't do it. I'm taking the dog here, Stephanie Edgar, plus 165. All right, next up in the featherweight division, we have a fight between Giga Chicazi and Omar Morales. Right now, Morales is a minus 150 favorite in the comeback on Chicazi. He's a plus 140 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm impressed with both guys. I saw both guys have a really high striking pedigree background, and damn, with Giga having the underdog money, I'm gonna have to probably lean a little bit towards him. I was really impressed in his last fight with Irwin Rivera. Like, he really was mixing up really well, throwing a lot of kicks, mixing up with the punches. Omar Morales does have some serious one-punch knockout power, but I was really impressed with how Giga was able to change stances, and he showed a lot of different tools, and especially in some of his fights that I've seen. I think I'm gonna have to lean a little bit towards him, maybe by decision.
Unfortunately, I might have to disagree with you on that fight. I mean, I'm just haven't been overly impressed with Giga during his time in the UFC. I thought he came into the UFC when he already lost in the Contender Series against Austin Springer. You already know how Austin Springer is when he just fought on short notice against Alex Caceres. He was wiped out in the first round. So that's not overly impressive. I definitely think he lost his fight against Jamal Emmers. He definitely lost round 2, and he definitely lost round 3. No idea how he even won that fight. But the only fight he looked impressive was in his last fight, and that was because he fought a guy that is 135 pounder.
Yeah,
he's not 145 pounds, so he took it on short notice. He's only 5'6". In comes Omar Morales. He's the tallest, biggest fighter that Giga has ever faced in his entire UFC career. He's the same height. He has no height, no reach advantage. Omar Morales can fight as big as 170. That's how big he was at 155. Now he's coming all the way down 145, made weights with ease. He's also a high-level kickboxer, a Venezuelan kickboxer. He's been kickboxing for the last 15 years professionally. So they're both around the same type of level. It's called as far as kickboxing goes. But Omar Morales is way faster, and he's way more powerful. And if he chooses to wrestle, he could probably get it to the mat. And then also where he has a leg up, his camp, Sanford MMA, already faced him a couple months ago. So they know what he's about. They know what he's going to throw. It's going to be the same shit. I think Omar Morales is just come forward, get in his grill, throw down, and just stay in his face. Don't give him any type of space. No, don't give him that leg reach where he's going to throw kicks. He's just going to come in close and just throw hands. And what I liked about him against Gabriel Benitez, every single time Gabriel will throw a punch, Omar Morales is throwing one right back. He'll take a punch, but you're better be ready to take another punch as soon as you throw it. So that's what I really liked about him. And I think he's got great cardio. He's got a great chin. Throws volume. He fights his ass off. Fights for your money. I'm going with Omar Morales. Minus 150. Cool. All right. Next up is a fight in the bantamweight division between Al-Kaisi and Tony Kelly. Right now, Tony Kelly is a minus 210 favorite, and the comeback on Al-Kaisi is a plus 190 underdog. Who do you got?
To be honest, I was watching a little bit of Tony Kelly on LFA. I wasn't able to find too much on him. The only fight I've really seen of Ali was his last fight with Irwin Rivera as well. A common opponent with Giga.
Yeah.
But, at least from that fight, that was like a pick-em for me. But I think if I have to lean towards anybody, I might go with Ali on this one. I think maybe just with a little bit of the experience advantage. And I think he showed a pretty well-rounded game his last fight. But I don't really know too much about Tony Kelly.
I do like Kelly here. Yes, he's shown that he can get taken down in his last fight against Kai Kamaka, the third. But Kai Kamaka, I think, is a much higher level caliber of wrestler than Al-Kaisi. I think Kamaka was a D1 wrestler. He was a state champion wrestler as well. And yes, Kelly got taken down, but Kelly was able to scramble back to his feet. He never gave up his back. And Kelly has a massive height, and reach advantage in this fight, being that he's a normal 145er, whereas Al-Kaisi is a 135er. Al-Kaisi had trouble making weight as well. He needed all the 2 hours to make 135 pounds. So it's going to be interesting to see if the grappling is going to really play into effect, if Kelly is able to defend them and make him work for it, so that's going to take a lot out of him in the early going, because he wasn't able to hold down Rivera. I don't think he's going to be able to hold down Kelly here, and Kelly's going to absolutely piece him up on the feet. There's no chance on the feet here for Alkaisi. He's got to have to take him down and keep him there if he wants to win. All right. Next up in the middleweight division, we have a fight between Impa Kasanganay and Joaquin Buckley. Right now, Kasanganay is a minus 220 favorite, and they come back on. Buckley is a plus 200 underdog. What do you got?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Impa on this one. I was checking out some of his fights, and I think I'm probably gonna lean a little towards Impa on this one.
I'm with you as well. I feel bad for Buckley because the first 2 fights of his short UFC career is Kevin Holland on short notice, then Impa Kasanganay on short notice.
Not doing him any
2
favors,
physical specimens. No, not at all. I mean, I forgot. Oh yeah, he was fighting. I forgot. He was fighting someone else. He was fighting. Where the hell is it? Abu Azaitar. That would have been a good matchup for him. He could win against Azaitar. Man, this is a tough matchup. I mean, Impa, I know he's only, this is his second fight in the UFC, but man, that dude is so good. He's super well-rounded. He keeps his composure. He's got power. He's got wrestling. He's super, super strong. He's got a chin on him. What else could you ask for? And he's only 8-0 or 9-0. He's super green still, but he's so, so good. And then in comes Buckley. He's just a freak of nature. He's super jacked. But he's a normal 170-pounder. And it showed in his last fight. He gassed out super fast against Kevin Holland, throwing a bunch of haymakers in the first round. And I kind of see the same thing going here. Impa takes some shots early on, but then Joaquin's going to fade. Impa will take him down, beat up on him a little bit, kind of like he did against Anthony Adams in his Contender Series fight. Kind of seeing more and more of the same. I got Impa here, and I feel very strong on Impa getting his second fight and second win in the UFC in just like 3-4 months. So I'm very excited to see him just keep progressing, because the sky's the limit for him. All right, next up, we have a fight in the heavyweight division between Rodrigo Nascimento and Chris Daukaus. Right now, Nascimento is a minus 245 favorites, and to come back on Chris Daukaus is plus 225 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm definitely gonna have to lean towards Nascimento on this one. I actually train with him at Coconut Creek, and I watch him a lot, and he's really like rounding out his whole game. And I feel like he has some great striking and some great grappling too. And I really think he's gonna be able to put it on Chris, to be honest. And I think early too.
I mean, that's the thing that we should see. But what if he doesn't get it done in the first round?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 10 pounds heavier from his last weigh-in. So he fought in May. So 5 months later, he's now 10 pounds heavier. So I don't know if he cut to 265 and now he's going to be 275, 280 come fight time. And if he doesn't finish him in the first round, I don't know how his gas tank is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, put away everyone. Yeah.
Exactly. So now he's going to go against Chris Daukaus. He probably will be able to take him down because he's got, 50 pounds on him. I think he went all the way down to 225 pounds, Chris Daukaus, because he was 256 just a few months ago for his last fight against Porter Parker. So I know he put in his strength and conditioning, and which has got him slimmer. So he's going to be probably the guy with the better cardio and the guy that's going to definitely be faster. But Rodrigo is definitely going to be the much stronger fighter, and he's definitely, I think, the better jiu-jitsu fighter as well. So this is not a fight I really want to pick either side, especially being that Nascimento is a minus 245 favorite. I think that's a little crazy considering he's only had one fight in the UFC, and it was against Dontel Mays, who's just not UFC caliber. So, and then Chris Daukaus actually came in and starched the Parker Porter in the first round. So I think it's a lot closer. I don't like the line. If I had to side betting wise, I would take the dog money in Dawkins just because it's plus 225. I do think it should be a lot closer, but this is not a fight I'm gonna play and bet on because I think it's just a dog or pass situation. Because I'm not taking minus 245 on an 8-0 Rodrigo Nascimento, who still really is green and hasn't beaten anybody yet. So. All right, next up is the featured bout on the preliminary card in the middleweight division between KB Bular and Tom Breeze. Right now, Breeze is a minus 250 favorite, and the comeback in Bular is a plus 230 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm definitely leaning on Breeze towards this one. I think he has some of the cleanest hands in the middleweight division. I think especially at welterweight, he looked really good. And then ever since he moved up to middleweight, he's only had one fight with Daniel Kelly, but I thought he looked really clean in that performance. And I know now in between his fight, he's been competing in a lot of grappling tournaments, kind of rounding out that side of his game. But I really think his striking is some very high level. I know he works with a Damian trainer, who's like a really good kickboxing trainer who has like a lot of kickboxing fights and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely taking Tom Breeze on this one. I think he's one of the dogs in the middleweight division. If he could stay more active, I know he hasn't been as active lately, but I really think this guy could really work his way up the ranks if he could stay active.
Yeah, I have to go with you as well here. KB Bular, he's 8-0. He's only fought on the Canadian regional scene. Hasn't really beaten anyone good. Nowhere near the caliber of Tom Breeze. Short notice opponent. Bular was getting ready for a Contender Series fight against somebody at American Top Team, actually.
Yeah.
I think his Bruno Silva. No, not Bruno Silva. Something Bruno Oliveira.
Yeah.
So he was getting ready for Bruno Oliveira. So he took this fight because it opened up for him. But I think it's just a bad statistical, stylistic matchup. I mean, Breeze is jacked. The dude is huge. He's got heavy hands. I think he's like a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got 7 of his wins are actually by submission as well. He's super well-rounded. It's just his mind. If his mind's in it, he's really hard to beat. But, with anxiety, and that anxiety is a bitch. So you never know what you get with Tom Breeze. But he's got the tool to absolutely dominate this fight. Minus 250 is not a great price tag, but I think it's warranted, and he definitely should win this fight. All right. Next up is the first fight on the main card, and it's a fight at 145 pounds between Yusuf Zalal and Ilya Torporia. Right now, Zalal is a minus 160 favorite, and the comeback on Ilya is a plus 140 underdog. Who do you got?
I believe this fight was canceled due to COVID, right? But if I had to, they just announced it like a few hours ago. Yeah, it's one of those fights that's off the card. But if I had to pick, if they were fighting, I'd definitely go with Zalal.
No way.
Yeah. They just reported
that. That sucks.
Yeah.
Damn. I was out. Didn't get the notification. Oh man, this was going to be a great fight, like a fantastic fight.
COVID's because
this was going to be such a good fight because I really wanted to see Torporia because he is one of the top prospects over in that region.
Yeah.
I think over in Spain. So he's managed by first round management. So I was really excited to see what he's capable of. And what you're getting for Zalal, his striking is
a monster.
So good. His grappling, I mean, like it would have been a great fight. Damn, that sucks. I really didn't even know that. Man, that killed a really good fight. Oh well. All right. Next up, I'm never gonna go into it if it's if it's not even there. All right. Next up in the heavyweight division, we have a fight between Tom Aspinall and Alden Boudoir? I don't know. Maybe it's Boudoir. We'll go with Boudoir. All right. Right now, Aspinall's a minus 605 favorite. And the comeback on Boudoir is plus 505. Who do you got?
I think, I'm definitely going to have to lean towards Tom. I've watched a lot of his training videos.
Yeah.
I know he's one of Darren Till's main training partners. And one of the things that really surprised me about him is just how quick he moves and how light he is on his feet for a heavyweight.
Yes.
That is one of those things
Yeah.
that really throws me off in the way he mixes in, like, getting into the clinch and getting people up against the fence and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to have to lean towards Tom. I'm really impressed with, like, what I've seen from him so far.
You know what's crazy? He trained with the Gypsy King for a boxing match. So he was doing boxing for a while, but the thing is that's not even his background. His background is jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
Like I think he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. His dad is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. His dad is a professor for a jiu-jitsu gym as well. So it's crazy because he loves to throw hands and his hands are super crisp. But yeah, this should be a walk in the park. Aspinall should win in round 1. I think you can take Tom Aspinall in round 1 at plus 100. So it's even money. I think that's literally the only way you can bet him. But Dubois, he's a blown-up light heavyweight. He fought last year, made weight 205. Now he's somehow, a year later, 255 pounds. I don't know how you gain 50 pounds. He looked like he just came straight off the couch for his own one and only opportunity to fight in the UFC. So they're just throwing him to the wolves. Here you go, fight Aspinall. He's going to knock him out, and they're just going to keep letting him build the hype. And I know there's going to be a time where we're going to fade him, but this is definitely not the time. It's definitely not the time. All right. So next up, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Marcus Perez and Dricus du Plessis. Jesus Christ.
Some tongue twisters.
Right. Yeah, man. Like I'm terrible with these overseas names. It's horrible. All right. Dricus, I don't know, is a minus 165 favorite, and the comeback on Perez is a plus 155 underdog. Who do you got?
I think I'm gonna have to lean towards Perez on this one. I think he's been doing a lot of different grappling matches and stuff like that, and I think he has some some awkward striking. He throws some different stuff and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna lean towards Perez on this one.
This is definitely not a fight I'm looking to wager my money on. You know, Dricus is a 2-division champion, I think, over in Africa. He's trained at Tiger Muay Thai, so he's got that Muay Thai striking type background. He's got some submission wins to his name too. You know, he's beaten some decent opponent. I forgot his name on the regional seat over there. Perez hasn't really beaten anybody good, and he's lost to everybody who's halfway decent. Perez is just someone I really don't like putting my money on, and I don't trust the newbie just yet. I need to see more from him. I mean, he's coming off a win against someone who's 3-0. That's not really going to get it for me. I know he looked good. He knocked him out, but I need to see him against someone, someone good. But yeah. I'm not betting on this fight at all. Yeah, I don't want any part. If I had to choose, I'll go with the guy's name that I can't pronounce, Dricus. Yep, I'll go with him. All right, next up in the heavyweight division, we have a fight between Ben Rothwell and Marcin Tybora. Right now, Rothwell is a minus 150 favorite, and the comeback on Tybora is a plus 140 underdog. Who do you got?
This is one of those really tough fights for me because I definitely feel like Tybora is much lighter on his feet. And I think he's a little bit of a better striker than Rothwell. But I definitely feel that Tybora's gas tank's a little questionable. And I feel like Rothwell is one of those guys that kind of sticks around the entire time. He can take damage. And I think he's a little bit bigger than Marcin Tybora. And I also think Ben Rothwell inside of the clinch is a little bit better than Tybora. So, and I think if I have to lean, I'm probably going to have to go towards Rothwell. I think as the later the fight goes on, I think it's just going to start leaning more towards Rothwell. I definitely think in the beginning, Tybora's going to present some challenges to Rothwell, but I definitely think Rothwell might come out with a decision, maybe a 3rd-round stoppage or something like that.
Yeah, I can see exactly what you're saying to a T. Yeah. And plus, it looked like Tybora was kind of out of shape, too, coming into this fight. He's about 10 to 15 pounds heavier than his previous fight 4 months ago. So, that's definitely going to hinder his cardio even more than it already is. And Tybora is going to come in there looking to grapple as well. I probably lean towards Rothwell to an ugly decision. You can get I think the over 2.5 rounds isn't a bad bet either. I think it's minus 167. I think that's a pretty decent, play there. But yeah, I'm definitely not betting either side. But if I had to choose, I'll be going with Ben Rothwell in this fight. All right, in our co-main event of the evening, we have a fight at 145 pounds between Edson Barboza and Makwan Amirkhani. Right now, Barboza is a minus 260 favorite, and to come back on Amirkhani is a plus 240 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, I'm really gonna I think this is a really bad fight for Makwan. At least from a lot of what we've seen from Makwan, he's a very good starter in the first round if he can get his hands on you and get the wrestling going and stuff like that. But I feel like Barboza is just the bigger guy. I think Barboza's a lot cleaner on the feet, and I think Barboza's gonna chew up his body with kicks and beat up his legs and stuff like that. And I don't think Makwan has very good striking defense. And I think if this fight even goes past the first round, Makwan showed time and time again that if it goes past the first round, he's not getting the takedown at will, how he usually gets it sometimes. He really starts to fade, and I really just think Barboza's going to finish him at some point in the second round, I think.
I'm 110% with you on that. I see that exactly happening. I mean, Barboza has some of the best takedown defense in the entire featherweight division. I mean,
yeah.
Barboza has only been taken down more than once in a single fight twice, and that was only to Kevin Lee and Khabib. That's it. Those are the only two people that have ever taken him down more than one single time. And rightfully so. The dude's super strong. He knows how to sprawl. He knows how to get the underhooks. He's very, very good. Dan Ige went 1 for 4 in his takedowns. And he arguably beat Dan Ige. He arguably beat Paul Felder as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he should be coming off two wins. He shouldn't be fighting someone like Amirkhani. This would be the worst loss of Barboza's career.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
By far. Like, Amirkhani is not on his level. When people say there's levels to this, there's fucking levels to this. Like, Amirkhani is not on the level of Barboza. He will never be. You're talking about a guy he let Burgos beat the dog shit out of him. Arnold Allen was beating the dog shit out of him. Jason Knight was beating the fucking shit out of him. He was beating his ass. He almost got him to submit as well when he was laying in his rubber guard as well. So I know there's some hype around Amirkhani because of his grappling and his dark chokes, but he hasn't finished anybody good. And Barboza is not getting finished by Amirkhani. I think Barboza absolutely steamrolls Amirkhani. He's a very confident play for me. Minus 260. I know it's a lot of juice, but I think it's worth it. All right. And we're finally up to the main event of the evening. A fucking fantastic fight. I'm very, very looking forward to this fight. Fight between Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Morales at 135 pounds. Right now, Sandhagen is on minus 132 favorite, and to come back on Morales is a plus 122 underdog. What do you got?
Oof, this is one that I was really looking forward to talk about and stuff like that, but it's a tough one to pick. I really think in the early going, Morales is obviously the most dangerous. I think Morales has shown in his last couple fights, once you start getting out of the first and second round, the power starts to fade and the volume starts to fade as well. I think a big factor is going to be Morales landing trying to land some hard leg kicks on Corey and stuff like that, maybe to slow down the movement of Corey, who's very mobile and always switching right to southpaw at will. But with that being said, I do think Corey, is the better boxer. I think he controls range a little better. He's longer than Marlon. I definitely think in the early going, I think Marlon's going to piece up Corey a little bit. I wouldn't say maybe piece up. I think he's just going to land some hard shots. I think he's the harder puncher. And I definitely think Corey has the chin to take it. I think we could look back to Corey's fight with Alcantara. He got absolutely he was getting beat up really bad in the first round. He was able to come back from that. I definitely think that, man, it's a tough one to pick, but I'm definitely I think I'm going to have to lean towards Sandhagen, especially with a 4th or 5th round finish, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you as well on this one. It's man, I'm fucking excited for this fight because it's going to be a fire fight. That first 2-3 rounds is going to be crazy because Marlon's going to come forward. He's going to land some heavy shots. He might even knock down Sandhagen. I really do think he could knock him down, but I just don't think he puts him away. I don't think so. And I think once he doesn't put him away in the first 2 rounds, that's when Sandhagen is going to he's gonna just that's when he just picks it up. In the later rounds, he picks it up. He's got the cardio to go 25 minutes. He can even go past 25 minutes. Training at elevation, training with guys, at Curtis Blades, Justin Gage. People like that are pushing him to another level of exhaustion. I think he could go and run circles around Moraes for 25 minutes. But it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be back and forth. I'm taking Sandhagen here. I think minus 132 is a great line. And he's going to be next up after whoever wins between Aljo and
Peter Young.
His name? Yeah, Peter Young. Jeez. Can't forget that. But yeah, man, super excited for that fight. That's going to be a fucking fantastic fight. It's going to be a great fight card. I think we have great fights up and down. I think we're going to see a lot of finishes, actually, a lot of finishes. I think you could take the under 2.5 rounds of the Tom Breese fight. You're definitely going to take fight doesn't go to a decision in the Chris Dawkins and Nascimento fight. Even the Kasanganay and Buckley fight, that could not go to decision as well. The Tagir and Silva, there's going to be a lot of high action fights, and I'm really looking forward to it. But if you had to give out your best play, who would you bet on?
My best play? I definitely have to go with the female fight, the prelims with Tracy Cortez and Stephanie Edgar. I think people are really sleeping on Stephanie Edgar, and I think the underdog money on her is crazy. And if I had to make one pick that I could be pretty confident on, is definitely the Stephanie Edgar fight, I think.
That's very interesting. An underdog debut fighter as your confident pick. That's good. I like it. I like it a lot. Because I'm definitely confident. I'm definitely confident in her as well. And plus 165, I think that's a fantastic price. I think it's because people don't know about her, and short notice. She's only 5-1, so people are obviously going to go and gravitate to Tracy Cortez, anyways, because they like her. She's marketable. They're trying to market her up and stuff like that. But little do they know, this is going to be the fight that she falls flat on her face.
Yeah, I think so too.
And yeah, Stephanie Edgar plus 165. That's a good one. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Like I said, I want to thank you so much for coming on, man.
No, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely, man. We're gonna do more stuff. You're always welcome here on the the Inside the Distance podcast, as always. But before we go, shout out your if you have anybody to shout out, like sponsors, or if you where everybody can find you on social media as well. Let everybody know.
I want to give a big shout out to one of my longest sponsors, Cairo Fit Pines. If any of you guys are in the area of Pembroke Pines, Miramar, and want to check out a chiropractor, I definitely think that's the guy you should be checking out. He helps me a lot leading up to all my fights, always, aligning me and things like that. So I think he's a really knowledgeable guy in what he does. And also, I want to give some shout out just some of my coaches, to my striking coach, Carl Darbuz. He's been with me for a long time. And my other coach, Roger Crawl, who kind of just handles my whole professional career. And also one of my grappling coaches, Chris Navarro and Felipe Laborio. And those are, pretty much everybody that I want to shout out. And if you guys want to follow me on social media, on Instagram, it's Christian with a CH _Y28. And then on Facebook, my name is Christian Ynastrilla. Like I always say, I know my last name's a tongue twister for everybody. So the last name's YNASTRILLA. And then, you guys can follow me there and stay tuned. I'm just getting warmed up in my career, and I promise you guys that the best of me is still to come, and December 18 is the next step for me. So,
all right, man. I appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely be back soon. So I'll let you go, and then I'm going to finish up here, and I'll talk to you later, my man.
Awesome.
You have a great night. You have a great night.
Take care.
All right, guys. That's Christian Ynastrilla. That's our episode for this week. We'll be back next week, normal time, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, and Aaron, the dog, will be with us next week, so you guys don't worry. He'll be there with his dog of the night, like always. And then he'll also give you guys, he'll comment on this post, or I'll share it. He's going to give you guys a dog of the night, and later on when I get in touch with him, and I will post it so you guys can go and bet his dog play of the night or his greasy parlay that he loves to give you guys and make a ton of money on that. So with that said, guys, you know where to follow me at Fight Analysts on Twitter and The Fight Analyst on Instagram and Facebook. And guys, head over to thefightanalyst.com and get my package now. Coming off a 7-0 sweep plus 12.43 unit night. We just absolutely smashed it. We're looking to keep it going tomorrow night. 12 fight card. We're going to make some money, and we will see you all cashing